Welcome back, boxing fans. The other big fight in Osaka, Japan is a question of revenge or repeat. The two brothers, Yudai and Ginjiro Shigeoka, both held world titles simultaneously in boxing's smallest division, the strawweight division. Now, Yudai Shigeoka lost his belt to a Filipino, Melvin Jerusalem, on points in the rematch. He couldn't get past Jerusalem again, and Jerusalem retained his title on points. So Yudai Shigeoka has two successive losses there against Melvin Jerusalem. Now, go to the other brother, Ginjiro Shigeoka, lost by upset to Pedro Taduran in a war of attrition when Taduran stopped him in the 9th round and took his IBF World Strawweight title. Now they're having a rematch. Can Ginjiro Shigeoka change things up and get his belt back from Pedro Taduran, or will that charging Filipino tank retain his title and send the Shigeoka brothers finally home packing? If you want to break down that fight with me, then stick around. Saturday we're going to see a battle between these awesome little southpaws. Now, as I've said in my previous analysis of the original encounter, Ginjiro Shigeoka is not a jabber, he's not a boxer. He kind of hangs back, lets and walks the guy onto punches. He throws those uppercuts and hooks to the head and body and throws combinations, steps around, hangs back and do it again. And that is what he did against Pedro Taduran. But Taduran shrugged off those punches. He came in behind the high guard. He used his jab sometimes to get some openings going, and I think Taduran fought very well. And he exchanged those punches with Shigeoka, and in the end, everything Shigeoka threw, because he really tried, couldn't hurt Pedro Taduran. And Taduran's punches, I think as early as the 2nd round, he threw an overhand left there from the southpaw position, and it looked to me like he wobbled Shigeoka. And that was the beginning of an end for Shigeoka, because terrific exchanges. Shigeoka hit Taduran with everything he could. He tried to move him back, because a guy like Taduran, who's a come forward pressure fighter kind of guy, if you move him back, he's going to be uncomfortable on the back foot, because that's not where he likes to fight. His balance will be off. And Shigeoka have tried that in that first fight, I think. When Taduran hurt him, he stood his ground and he threw those combinations, and he's tried his best right down to the body, to the head, to move Taduran back. But Taduran just took it and kept on going after Shigeoka, until in the 9th round, the referee had to rescue him from his own bravery. Shigeoka was in a bad way. He was getting beaten up. And that was it. Pedro Taduran became a new champion. Now, statistically, when somebody loses on stoppage, usually in the rematch, they get stopped earlier. That is what your numbers will indicate. Sometimes a fighter reverses their loss, a stoppage loss in the rematch. It's usually when they underestimated their opponent. I don't think that was the case here again for Shigeoka. The Japanese are professional. They scout their opponents well. They leave it all in the ring. You know, that's why I love Japanese boxing so much, because of that. But how is Shigeoka going to turn it around now against Pedro Taduran? He's not going to be able to force a pressure fighter back. He's tried that. It didn't work. He is quicker, he's got quicker feet, he's got quicker hand speed, that he's got over Taduran. But Taduran is like a tank. The guy is incredibly tough. He just walks through it, and he's got that high guard, and he puts his punches together well. And let's give him credit, he did cut off the ring rather well. So the only way I can see Shigeoka winning here is he's got to turn boxer. He's got to adopt a boxer move stance. With that, he's got to have a consistent jab, steady stream of jabs into Taduran, throw his second hand, in the case of a southpaw will be his straight left, maybe throw 2 punches at a time, 3 max, and then he's got to step around his opponent, get back the distance, and he's got to move around the ring and wait for his next attack. Now, I think it's a tall ask. I don't see Shigeoka being able to do such a radical change in style. You know, it's not the Japanese way, so I put it like that, to fight on the back foot, jab and move, stick and move, and that's what he's got to do. And that's not too easy to do against Pedro Taduran. You're going to have to steal rounds, because Taduran's going to keep coming, and you're going to have to change direction all the time. because we've seen now he didn't hurt Taduran. So he's going to have to really put on a masterful display of working the angles, circling in different directions, and box, because in the first fight, Shigeoka stood too long in the pocket in front of Taduran. Stood too long exchanging. I think he's used to stopping guys. In his mind, he had it that he would get to Taduran. And in the end, Taduran ended up getting to him. You know, Taduran was much tougher than even anybody knew. So for me, I think if Shigeoka wants to win, he's going to have to do that. He's going to have to stick and move. He's going to have to play brilliant angles, and he'll have to spend less time in the pocket. He's going to have to not be a hero and box very, very cleverly. And it's hard for me to see him do that. My gut tells me it will be very impressive if Ginjiro Shigeoka can reverse his loss, but I just don't think he can make that drastic a change. And in his usual style, you know, we've seen Taduran can take what Shigeoka throws, and he can hurt Shigeoka. So I don't know if this is going to be much different. I think Shigeoka is going to try maybe in the early rounds to box more, but I think Taduran is going to get to him once again. So for me, you guys got to tell me in the comment section, what do you think? Is Ginjiro Shigeoka going to make an impressive revenge, or is it Pedro Taduran going to retain his title? I think Shigeoka might try something different for a few rounds. It's not going to last, but I think in the end of the day, he's going to get stopped again, maybe a bit quicker. So I'm going for Pedro Taduran TKO 8. So you guys tell me what you think, and please remember to hit that subscribe button. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. It will help the channel. So I don't think Saturday in Osaka is going to be a great night for the Japanese fighters. That's the long and the short of it. But you can never count them out, and I think it's going to be a terrific pair of fights there in the Osaka event. If any of you guys here in South Africa who's watching know where I can find the fight broadcast here, please drop something there in the comment section. I would like to find a way to watch these fights. Usually we get them the next day somewhere on YouTube, but if you know of somewhere where it will be showing in South Africa, drop a link there, not a link, but just give us a hint on which channel or where and what platform here in SA. But as I've said, we're in for a good day of boxing Saturday in Osaka. In the UK later, you will have on the zone, I believe, Josh Taylor, the former undisputed 140-pound champion, making his comeback against Iko Esuman. It's a must-win fight for Josh Taylor. I think that'll also be a good fight. But I think that a pair of fights there in Osaka is definitely, I think, more of a fights to watch. Let's put it that way. So that's it from me, guys. Until I see you again, remember to keep those hands up.